I promise you, out of anybody, The Undertaker's gonna be the number one.
We're turning you down because you're loud as shit.
I am loud. I am loud as shit. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No complaining. Not complaining.
But
so, everybody, holy shit! I just broke this. Oops.
we're starting the episode off great.
There we are. Welcome back, everyone, to an episode of the Dual Wield Podcast. I'm your host, Vegeta Almighty.
And I'm Jin.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode. It's been, 15 years since we put out an episode of this podcast?
It's only been 74 years.
And then back then, we had to walk 15 miles in the snow to get to this podcast.
Uphill both ways.
Mm-hmm. While fighting off Tyrannosaurus Rexes and pterodactyls. But anyway, so...
That's when you had to bring out the Buster Blade for that shit.
Oh my god. You know, Buster Blade, more like the big Unga Bunga Club.
Funky dunk dunk.
Me name Chuck. Me hit the fuck. Anyway.
That's an ancient player right there.
Yeah, it is. Play a pimp.
We call that the Unga Bunga special.
Mm-hmm. Bam! Bam! Take it away, Emerald! Bam! No,
going far left field off topic.
Yeah, before we get let's get this fucking train back on the rails. So, I should probably shut this too, just in case. So, hang on, everybody. You know what to expect when you come here. Professionalism. If you want that, you go to another fucking YouTube channel. So, we're sitting here.
Joe Rogan. Don't go to Joe Rogan.
Don't go to Joe Rogan. Anyway, we're sitting here debating on what we wanted to talk about today, and I don't know why why it kind of took off the way that it did, but I was talking to Jen about how I was watching a video, and it turns out Kevin Owens said that his pop-up powerbomb was overdone, so he switched to the stunner. And then the comment I made, apparently Jen vehemently disagrees with, and that is, he switched to the stunner, the move used by the most famous and popular wrestler of all time. And Jen vehemently disagrees with me on that. Now,
so I'm going to say it like this. I give Stone Cold Steve Austin his due. He is one of the top three.
What?
Characters.
What?
In WWF.
What? No, just kidding.
Back in early WWF, WWE Attitude Era days. He is definitely one of the most well-known. There are two that I feel are more well-known and more popular than Stone Cold Steve Austin. And those two are, at number 2, would probably be The Undertaker. Just because he doesn't have as much exposure as the number 1, who would be The Rock. Now, I say The Rock is probably the most well-known of any WWE persona that's not John Cena.
Yeah, we didn't even think about
Cena. But I was thinking more Attitude Era days. To
be fair, The Rock, I think, is still more well-known, because Cena just started out in Hollywood.
Cena did just start out. Well, I wouldn't say he just started out. He's been doing Hollywood since,
just started his career in Hollywood.
Well,
the Marine doesn't count.
So first of all, the Marine was fantastic.
Yes.
But second...
And then it got to their heads and it made them think they could make movies, and they can't.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, no.
Who's ready for some field tripping?
Which, don't get me wrong, I love the characters, or the guys that go in and play the Marine in the different movies, like Ted DiBiase Jr., and...
The Miz.
And
then Shawn Michaels.
Really?
Shawn Michaels... The Miz died. And Shawn Michaels took over.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's incredibly weird. I didn't even know that, so that shows... I've not even seen any of the new Marine movies past the John Cena one.
I only know that because of Brian Zane and Wrestling with Regret. I only know it because of that.
Give me a coaster.
Sure, you can have this one, because I don't have...
You don't have 2 coasters?
Well, not in here.
Oh, Vegeta is clearly unprepared.
Oh yeah, I'm unprepared to have guests in my office where I work alone. typically.
Here, I'll just hold on to mine.
Maybe if somebody fucking ever had a free day to come over and do the goddamn podcast with me, we wouldn't have this problem.
Hey, you can't blame me for having, a kid and...
Good day. No, I'll blame you.
Shit.
Good day, sir.
How is that?
I said good day, sir.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. So...
But back on topic.
Yeah.
So, I would argue that The Rock is probably the most well-known, to where if you pick him out of a lineup, you're going to say that's... It's even in his Hollywood name. His WWE moniker is in his Hollywood name, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. And that's how he is always announced.
He tried to drop it at one point.
I think he did, yeah, but then it just doesn't work. It's like he is synonymous. Like, he is The Rock. He will always be that character, regardless of where he goes. Everybody will forever know him as The Rock.
Well, he dropped the moniker, and then when he came back to fight Cena, he readopted it.
I think dropping the moniker lasted maybe 2
Maybe
movies?
it did. Maybe it did. I don't know. It didn't last long.
No, it didn't last long at all.
But
that's my argument, is that the Stunner is definitely not the most well-known finisher. Now, it's a very popular finisher. It is very popular, but to my knowledge, only 2 people have ever used the legitimate Stunner, and that is, of course, its creator, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Of course, he didn't fully create the stunning move. That was already a previous move. I don't remember what the move was called, but he modified it, if I'm not mistaken. And then Kevin Owens, who essentially uses a modified Stone Cold Stunner. He tries his damnedest to hit it good every time, but it just doesn't always happen. In all fairness, even Austin didn't really hit it 100% great all the time.
Shut your mouth.
Well, they didn't. Everybody's going to have a botch every now and again. Nobody's perfect.
No, somebody... yeah, see? And exactly. This is the argument that I was making. Stone Cold didn't even invent the stunner. That credit goes to Mikey Whipwreck. It's where he got it from. He got the stunner from the Whippersnapper, from his time in ECW, from Mikey Whipwreck.
Yeah. Like I said, he modified it and he made it. But let's be honest, I'm a wrestling fan and I'd never even heard of Mikey Whipwreck until you just said so.
You've never heard of Mikey Whipwreck? Mm-mm. You never watched ECW, did you?
We didn't have it when I was a kid. The ECW that I watched was when WWE purchased ECW.
Ew, you watched WWE ECW?
Yes, I watched WWE ECW.
Ew.
Listen, Linda, we didn't... I was broke.
Linda,
we didn't have the things. It wasn't in our area. I lived in central fucking Missouri as a child.
See, I lived in Virginia, and it came on after SmackDown.
So you were on the East Coast, because ECW was what, Philadelphia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you were on the East Coast anywhere where it was going to air on local channels, more than likely.
It came on UPN after SmackDown.
Right. So we definitely didn't have UPN.
Oh.
So we didn't even have SmackDown. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't know who the SmackDown superstars were because I only ever see advertisements. We didn't have the actual channel that it came on. So I only ever got to watch Raw at one of my grandfather's houses, and Heat would occasionally do it. And then at my other grandpa's house, I would watch WCW because he would. It was his favorite time to spend with me on the weekends, and since WCW was Monday Night Nitro, he would Monday Nitro, whatever. He would record it.
So you can watch
it. He would tape it so that we could watch it together. If that gives you any indication as to how fucking old I am.
So, I'm going to make my point real quick, and then we're going to swing back to a couple things you just said. Number one, I think that Austin deserves more credit in your thing as far as popularity. I think more people know Stone Cold than you're giving him credit for. I think even more so over the Undertaker. As much as you know me, I'm a Dead Man fan. But popularity-wise, I think Austin just barely topples him. Because I think a lot of people love Because first of all,
the only thing that I can say that would put Austin over The Undertaker in popularity is the fact that Austin actually had a slogan, essentially. And that was Austin 316 says, I just whooped your ass.
What?
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. So,
I think Austin had it better with... I think Austin was better with crowd interactions.
here's what I'll say. The reason I think Austin beats Taker, as far as popularity is concerned, he's like a mythical creature. We got just the right amount of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He came at a time when he was needed most, and he left before he was no longer wanted. He left at the perfect time. Would I have loved to see some more Austin?
So, here's my thing with that. If I'm not mistaken, Austin left because of an injury.
He left because he was...
He got dropped on his fucking head. And was left with a back injury.
He got dropped on his head, and it broke his neck.
Yeah.
And he won that match.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. He was supposed to go over on that match anyway.
Yeah.
But he got dropped on his fucking head. He broke his neck. He wasn't going to be able to really continue to wrestle. And even today, there's so many people that want to see Austin get back in the ring. And, I mean, he could do it for, like, a spot. Yeah. He might be able to pull another... Given as tough a son of a bitch as Stone Cold Steve Austin is, he could pull out the stops for one more match. But I don't see him lasting more than that. And even then, that one match would just be there to put asses in seats one time.
Hey there, Kevin Owens. Yeah, I'm just going to see you at WrestleMania. Oh, all right. Austin, do you want to have a match? No, son. Stone Cold doesn't bump for nobody. Oh, Stone Cold doesn't bump.
And see, that's part of my problem with the current product is they put a lot of emphasis on returns and dream matches and shit when it comes to WrestleMania.
There's no one left to have a dream match with, though.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, so that's why I'm glad that they're kind of... They might be forced to actually focus on the current fucking product that they have.
They don't have many guys there that I wouldn't piss on their guts if they were on fire.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's unfair. Like, the character.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking. Like, of course, if I see Roman Reigns on fire out in public, I will do whatever I can to put out the flames. Even if that means pissing on him. I would try to do everything before pissing on him because that's just disrespectful. But my thing... Oh, Jesus Christ. My thing is the current crop of guys are just my problems with Daniel Bryan personified. If I want to go watch a sport, a combat sport, I'm going to watch UFC.
Or, what's the other one? Shit, I can't...
Boxing?
No, it has a fucking name. UFC and, Shit, what is that other one?
Pride, Bellator.
Bellator, thank you.
Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted,
but yeah, Bellator is the other one that I was thinking.
I don't even know if Bellator still exists, dude.
See, that's how out of the fucking loop I don't watch combat sports, bro.
My point is, if I wanted to watch combat sports, I'd watch mixed martial arts, UFC, or I'd watch boxing. I watch professional wrestling for professional wrestlers. Things that I think have gotten lost by the smarks on the internet and the indie guys that are a very fucking flashy, athletic, flippy-dippy piece of fucking driftwood. Like, they have the in-ring talent of a wrestling god.
However, they have
but the
no
personality of cardboard.
Yeah.
Like, whatever... So let me ask you something. Have you ever played any of the old N64 WWE games?
Oh, absolutely.
What was
WWF Attitude or whatever the fuck it was?
And there was Warzone. Hell, even like
no,
SmackDown.
it was Warzone. The one with Ken Shamrock.
There was also Attitude. Yeah.
Oh, it was okay.
There was two different ones. They were basically the same game, but one had a different roster.
I feel like whichever one had like Ken Shamrock and D'Lo Brown.
I want to say
Mark Henry, Triple H, obviously.
There was. I think they were in both of the. I think they were in both of them. Actually, I don't know if D'Lo was in. I think that was Attitude.
Yeah,
D'Lo was in Attitude.
Yeah. But I played that one. I played the WCW Backstage.
Yeah. Getting to my point real quick, though.
Yeah.
Before I completely fucking forget. Even like SmackDown and like the old SVR games had... There was one stat slot that your character... Like when you're making a creative wrestler...
Yeah. There
was one stat that you could upgrade. Well, you remember the name of that stat.
Wasn't it personality or something like that?
Charisma.
Well, yeah, because it's an important thing. Even in SmackDown vs. Raw 2008, you had the ability to be a showman and things like that. Like, crowd interaction is super fucking important. Being able to work the crowd is important.
There you go.
And if all you can do is flippy-dippy shit, you're only doing half the work. There's no storytelling.
And exactly. Thank you. So, the issue is not... First of all, you can work a crowd and still be boring. Because if you can flip... Like, working a crowd, in my mind, is not flipping them the bird or telling them, oh, your local sports team sucks. It's being able to be a legitimate, believable character. Whether it be heel or face. And, I just feel like a lot of the... Of course, it's never going to be exactly the same with the death after the death of kayfabe.
Essentially.
But
honestly, that's the worst thing. Like, we as a species just can't have nice things. We have to fucking ruin it for ourselves.
Here's the issue, though. Here's where one of the very few times, I say very few, but I'm pretty sure there's more than a few. Here's one of the examples of where I drastically disagree with Jim Cornette. The Attitude Era did not do irreparable damage to the business because Vince low-key killed kayfabe. Kayfabe was outed, whatever. But now it becomes a chance of, can you suspend my disbelief? The suspension of disbelief is kept kayfabe from being exposed. But also, even now that kayfabe is dead, if you can still suspend my disbelief, I know it's fake. I still fucking tear up when fucking... I was watching House with Bianca the other night, and I found when Amber died...
Spoiler alert.
That show was old as shit.
No. Listen, you hadn't seen it. You just saw it. You just called and bitched at me because I fucking told you that Amber died.
You didn't tell me. I
didn't tell you that Amber died.
You're making my point here. Anyway. Fucking, like when Amber... I'll admit it. Seeing Wilson break down, I cried like a bitch. I don't care. I love Wilson.
Dude, there's still shows and songs and shit that do to me. It touches your emotion. It suspends your disbelief. It makes you feel part of it. And that's what any fucking good match is going to do. You're going to root so hard for that face that when the heel ultimately just shoves his fucking face into the mat, your heart's going to fucking break because the heel won that shit.
I know. James Wilson did not turn off Bypass and actually let Amber die in real life. I know it's a show, but I still care about the characters because it's an emotional story that has parallels with real life. That is what we need more of. We don't need, I'm generic tough guy number 273, and I want to win giant sports belt. Because I want to be the best sports guy. I will watch football to see fucking better.
Oh my god, I'm gonna
better
go
athletics
into something after this.
Like, if I want to see better athletics, I go watch sports. Wrestling is sports entertainment. I want to be entertained. If I want to be bored to tears to see one team beat the other, I'll go watch the fucking Patriots versus the Rams. That god-awful Super Bowl. So, like, if I want to be bored to tears, I'll watch basketball. Like,
or fucking baseball.
Baseball.
I can't stand. So I'm just gonna throw this out there for anybody that's watching this that actually likes watching those sports. I understand that and I feel for you, but those are fun to play. They're not fun to fucking watch on TV.
I'll give you that. I'll give you.
But that feeds back into the point. The whole point of it is to be entertained. Professional wrestling has been compared to a soap opera for men. It's a performance. It's a theater act.
And what the fuck is wrong with that?
It is a dangerous theater act, and I can't stress that enough because there are fucking idiots out there who will be like, "Oh, wrestling's fake. All of it's fake." Okay, yes, it's scripted. There is a difference. It's not fake. The fucking television show that you're watching is fake, and yet you still love it. The Real Housewives, that quote-unquote reality TV shit that everybody watches, yeah, that's all fake, too.
That's faker than wrestling.
I hate to fucking burst your bubble. Shit like fucking Ghost Watchers. I had an ex swear that it was a real ghost every fucking episode. I was like, there's no goddamn way.
Yeah, no
There's
way.
absolutely no fucking way. But that's fake. But it's still, people tune in. People watch it every fucking week because it's entertaining.
I used to watch BuzzFeed's Unsolved.
Yeah.
Like, I know they're not going to actually encounter the goddamn Bigfoot, but hearing fucking Ryan freak the fuck out and like, oh, what is that? While Shane is like, come on, bitch, fight me the whole time. Like, that shit's entertaining to me.
It's entertainment, and that's basically what it is. Like, that's my biggest fucking pet peeve with that shit. Because this shit is scripted. This shit, there's a predetermined winner and a predetermined loser of every match because it feeds into a storyline. And even though the story is scripted, I don't know if anybody has ever actually taken a bump. I highly doubt it. At least anybody listening has ever taken a real fucking bump. But that shit hurts.
Yeah.
Like, getting shoulder tackled, like, just shoulder bumped and having to fall back and land square on your back, it knocks a little breath out of you just about every single time that you do it. And then you have guys that are jumping off of fucking scaffoldings. They're jumping off of cages that are, what, they said like 12, 15 feet in the air, right? And these motherfuckers are doing elbow drops off of this shit, courtesy Shane McMahon, or fucking swanton bombs off the top. Fuck. Dude, Edge with that fucking iconic spear. Mm-hmm. Like, sitting there hanging with the belts, and Edge just jumps from the ladder and spears Jeff Hardy into the fucking mat.
And
that killed both of them.
And that's a perfect example. There are some bumps that there's no way to take certain bumps.
No, you want a perfect example? You want the
perfect example.
Fucking perfect example? I think we have the perfect example.
I got the perfect example. With
Hell
everyone,
in a Cell.
If everyone who's listening, who wants to say, "Oh, wrestling's not real," they're not even remotely trying to hurt themselves.
Fucking talking to you, Joe Rogan.
Listen to this. To hear that thud, that was Mick Foley falling like, what, 15, 20 feet through the air, landing on... First of all, there was no fucking way to take that
where it doesn't hurt.
Taking 5 years off of your life, at least. Those tables are not airbags and fucking stunt fucking bags and shit that you can just fall on.
It is literally just something to hit before you hit the floor.
Yeah, to slightly brace your fall. It's gonna hurt like shit, but you might not die.
And even then, you can still get severely injured. For instance, I don't know if it was that instance or it was another one, but Mick Foley, or was he Mankind? It was Mankind at the time.
It was the second.
It was the second bump, the Hell in a Cell match with The Undertaker, where he fell from the top into the ring and broke a piece of his tooth off.
Yeah, so
that went into his fucking nose.
For those of you who are non-wrestling fans, if you can find King of the Ring 1998, if you're interested at all in jumping into some good old classic professional wrestling, and you want to see what, in my opinion, is the greatest match of all time, King of the Ring 1998, Mankind versus The Undertaker, Hell in a Cell. It is a fucking train wreck that wrecked because a plane crashed on the tracks while hitting another plane that also happened to explode and set an orphanage on fire. Like, it is a fucking natural disaster times 1,000 rolled into one. It is a
that ends up being
a fantastic match.
Great one of, if not
it's
the greatest.
I don't care what no one says, it's the best. JR's reaction, the first one. Oh my
god, listen, JR's reaction.
The first reaction, good God Almighty, good God Almighty, he killed him. As God is my witness, he is broken in half. He's hyping it up.
I think
it's still a nightmare. It's still insane. The one that got me, this one was the one that I was like, this one is a legitimate. The first bump, he throws him off the cell onto the fucking table. They planned for that. Taker's up there like, well, shit. I guess I'm not going nowhere. I guess that's it. I just got to wait for them to lower the cage down so I can get down. By the way, Taker has a broken foot during this match. Oh
my god.
Mankind then, after being stretchered up halfway up the ramp, is like, no, I'm not done. Gets up, and they climb back up there. Taker grabs him to chokeslam him, and Mix has gone on record saying he was tired because he just took that bump, and had he not been, and had he been able to get up to take the bump like he normally would, he would have over-rotated, and he would have broken his neck. Had he not taken that chokeslam kind of shitty, he would be dead. So he chokeslams him on top of the cell, which then was not supposed to do this, but it broke, and it gave way, and he fell through. And the chair that was on the panel next to him where he landed fell and hit him in the face and knocked him legitimately unconscious for a few minutes, lodging a tooth up through his gums, through his mouth, and sticking out of his nose. I will never forget.
Is probably the first most gruesome injury, but
no, it's not. It's not the first. I think the first most gruesome
to the mouth.
To the mouth, sure. The first most gruesome injury came at the hands of Vader, and the Hangman spot they did in WCW, where he literally ripped his ear off in the middle of a match.
I don't know that Sid Vicious one.
I'm talking about Mick Foley.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was that bump, or that spot that was just fucking absolutely gruesome. But I was thinking the Cesaro one, where he got monkey flipped into the ring post, and like shoved his teeth into his fucking gums.
Yeah, I was talking to Mick Foley specifically, but getting to my point, what sticks with me most out of that. Not, obviously, the iconic imagery of Mick sticking his tongue through his now gap in his mouth to show off, I'm still kicking, I'm still a crazy motherfucker.
Oh my god.
That will stick in my head forever. The other thing that will stick in my head forever is the legitimate, non-kayfabe acceptance of fate from Jerry Lawler. That's it, he's dead. When he fell through that ring, you hear JR goes, good God! Good God! And Jerry Lawler, in his real voice, that's it, he's dead. He's dead! He's dead. He's dead. There's no way. Like, he looked, that non-kayfabe, you could feel that he meant that. That's it. He's dead. He's dead. There's no way he could survive that. Because Jerry Lawler, a man who has been in that industry for years, up until that point,
Who still owns the most world titles ever.
he at that point had been in the industry for years, could tell there was no way he could have taken that bump and him not be
And been
dead.
okay. And been okay. Like,
Yeah.
at all.
At all.
The fact that Mick Foley is still alive.
Is a testament to the fact that he has God on his side.
He is probably... I'm not going to lie.
Divine intervention of
Mick
some sort.
Foley is probably pound for pound the toughest son of a bitch on the face of this planet.
Oh yeah, hands down. He may not win every fight.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But he could take beatings like fucking nobody's business.
When he takes 11 unprotected
chair
shots to the head
fucking
at
head.
full force
From The Rock.
while his children are screaming, watching him in the front row.
Yeah, keep in mind that not only are these full force chair shots, but they are from Dwayne the fucking Rock Johnson.
While his hands are cuffed behind his back.
Yeah.
And tell me wrestling's not real. It's scripted, but it really hurts.
It fucking absolutely is. It can be really brutal.
Real-
Especially shit that's not supposed to happen. Like,
Yeah.
like I was
Let
saying
him fall
earlier,
into the
that,
cage.
or that fucking, the Sid Vicious spot where he told them, I don't feel comfortable doing this. I don't want to do this.
They made him add a high-flying move.
Yeah, they made him at... It wasn't even that high flying. Like, he got on the second fucking rope, and he was going to do a stomp. And when he
Big
fucking
boot.
came down... Or a big boot. And when he came down, his leg folded the wrong way.
Which, to be fair, Sid Vicious
It's probably one of the most graphic fucking things I've seen
Sid
on live
Vicious,
TV.
Sid Vicious has never been known for being one of the most intelligent individuals in the world.
No,
so
but
the big
he
boot,
was...
the big boot was probably doing that was probably his fault for breaking his leg. But the fact that he was like, I don't feel comfortable. I'm huge. I'm not a high flyer guy. Why do I need to do this? One of the many reasons why WCW went out of business. Speaking of which, that's segue into what I wanted to ask real quick. I have two quick topics, and then we're going to probably call it here.
What's up?
Were you a WWE or a WCW guy?
I'm not gonna lie to you. When it comes to nostalgia's sake, my heart pulls harder for WCW than WWE.
When growing up, which one were you more of?
WCW, all the way. I was always a WCW kid.
What's funny is I have more vivid memories of watching Raw than I do of Nitro, but I had all the Nitro shit. I had the Nitro, the WCW memorabilia. I had a Goldberg, fucking like stuffed wrestling buddy or whatever. I had 2 Thumb War rings that were WCW branded. I had a microphone that had the buttons that for pre-recorded buttons from Sting, Hogan, Nash, shit like that. I had a WCW ring set with Hall and Nash and Hogan.
Yep.
I didn't have like any WWE shit growing up, but I have more vivid memories of
WWE.
Raw,
Yeah.
of WWE. Apparently, dude, I loved fucking Scott Hall.
Oh yeah.
I was a huge Scott Hall fan as a kid. Mostly, I attribute that to the WWE, the WWF WrestleMania arcade game for Sega Genesis.
Oh my god,
I
yes!
used to love playing as Razor Ramon in that game.
Me too. He was broken as fuck. Mm-hmm. Like, he was absolutely
Taker
broken.
was pretty broken too, with his fucking ghost that he could shoot out at you.
Yeah, it was insane, man. You know what? I really miss that shit when they actually added elements from their characters into the fucking game.
I like the simulation style, but something about that.
The arcade versions
It's
are
kinda
just
cool.
awesome. But like, that's why I like WCW Backstage Brawl. Like,
Everyone hated that game. Okay,
Really?
Everyone liked fucking Mayhem.
see, I liked Mayhem too. I loved both of them. I had both of them. So like, when I had an N64, the games that I had for it, I'm remembering it was WWF Attitude. I did play the other one. What was the other one?
Warzone.
Warzone. I played that one with a friend.
That's the one where The Rock had the Nation theme.
Yes. And then I had WCW Mayhem, WCW Backstage Brawl, and then the rest of my games were like Pokemon shit.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon Puzzle Masters.
That checks out. You also had a Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like growing up, like
yeah.
For like your younger days.
I had the original NES, and I had the SNES, or Super Nintendo.
It's funny because you and I pretty much followed the same path, except for when I started out when I was a kid, real young. My first game console I ever played was the Genesis. I was a Genesis kid, and then of course the Dreamcast
came
was dog shit. So I went to Nintendo 64.
Right.
Well,
which was by and far the superior product anyway.
Yeah, obviously. Actually, you know what's funny? I went from Sega Genesis, and by the time we were ready to get a new console, the console we went to the store to get was actually the PlayStation 1. But they didn't have any.
I never had a PlayStation 1. We had the N64, and then eventually I didn't have the GameCube when it was new, but I bought one from somebody for like $15.
Yeah.
Years later. Years later. I had a GameCube at one point. We had a Wii at one point.
So you were just a Nintendo gamer all around.
Yeah, in all honesty, like, well, it was because it was a family thing. So like, my family, we had a PS2.
Everyone had a PS2.
Yeah, we had a PS2. But
that was a DVD player for the family.
We didn't have an Xbox. Like my household was a PlayStation fucking household apparently, but we didn't have an Xbox. I didn't have an Xbox. My first Xbox was the Xbox 360, and that was because my cousin had one, and I got to playing like Gears of War and shit like that.
So what happened to me, like I was saying, was. Apparently, I was destined to be a PlayStation gamer because we went to the store. I don't remember. I think it was Walmart. I'm pretty sure it was Walmart. We went to Walmart to pick up a PS1, but they didn't have any. So we got the Nintendo 64 instead because a lot of the games that we were looking for were... Because, those were like very compatible systems when it came to... If it was on PS1 and it wasn't a PlayStation exclusive, it was probably also on Nintendo 64.
Right.
So like, we ended up getting that. We ended up falling in love with the Nintendo 64. One of the first games I got for it was Toy Story 2, actually, which is a really fucking fantastic platformer.
It really is. It's crazy.
We spent a couple years with that, and then the PS2 got announced. My dad was working a really good job, and Mom took me out. I remember this because it was so funny to look back on it now. Mom took me to GameStop, which at the time where I lived was called Funko Land, and they sold Pokemon cards and Pokemon like card holders, and they sold all kinds of really cool shit. And then GameStop ended up buying them out, and it became sterile, and it became GameStop.
Yeah.
Boring. So they took me there, or Mom took me there, and I picked out because I had rented it and I wanted it so bad to own. She took me to purchase Star Fox 64. Love that fucking game. Mom brings me home. I'm about to pop it in the Nintendo 64. Then guess who comes home? Dad comes home.
With a new PS2.
With the PlayStation 2. And I'm like, well, fuck you, Star Fox! This time...
I bet your mom was pissed.
Oh, she was excited, because that means she can watch DVDs now. She took it to me to get that, because I could still play it.
Yeah.
When I had some downtime. She was excited because the PS2 was going to be their thing. Like, especially when I went to bed or whatever, they could stay up and play video games on that.
That was like my parent. So the PlayStation 2 was my stepdad's, and when he got his upgraded PS2 Slim, we got the old PS2 for the kids. But yeah, it was our DVD player, and then there was so many great games on it. I think one of my favorite PS2 games was definitely Resident Evil 4. But
let's not get started on that tangent.
As a family, it was always the SSX games.
Those are really good.
Those are always fucking dope. But back to the original question that you asked, because we've been going way long on this tangent. So yeah, definitely a WCW kid. Don't get me wrong. I as an adult, I appreciate the Attitude Era more now.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, I think it had more to do with the fact that I know I'm not supposed to have favorites, but the one that I watched WCW was my favorite, Grandpa.
Well, and this is why I don't understand, honestly, why I have such fonder memories of. I don't understand why I have much more vivid memories of WWE, like, actual shows.
Yeah.
And I remember only having WCW memorabilia. Like, that's weird to me. Because we watched both. I remember we watched both. I just don't remember fucking watching much of WCW.
Yeah, and that's mostly what I remember is fucking WCW. Like, I remember Rey Mysterio Jr., I remember Eddie Guerrero. Alex Wright, for some reason, was my favorite fucking person. But I remember Hollywood Hogan. But the funny thing is I had not only WCW, because I used to have, like, the wax figures. Mm-hmm. So, like, I had action figures, too, but I never really liked them as much as the wax figures for some reason. But I had, like, Sting, I had Alex Wright, I had Vader, I had the Giant before he was the Big Show.
Mm-hmm. Giant Paul Wyatt.
Yep. I had Hulk Hogan, the white and red, or not white, but yellow and red Hogan.
Yeah.
A Surfer Sting was the one that I had. And then fucking NWO Macho Man and his fucking and all of his frilly getup, or not frilly, but tassels everywhere.
His Macho Man.
Yeah, Macho Man getup. But that was a horrible impression.
With his grandstanding and his hot dog and take it. Anyway,
I swear to God. Anyway, you said you had two questions. What was your other?
The other one was: am I the only one who low key misses VCRs in a weird kind of way? Like,
probably, yes.
As a concept.
So I remember a lot of issues with VCRs as a kid. So funny thing is, my mom always tells the story about how I was technologically gifted because when I was like 2.5, I could program our VCR because I programmed her new one. I don't remember fucking doing that. But my biggest thing with them was like, you'd be watching them, and then the screen would start fucking moving and shit. You have to carry your tape. Well, obviously we're fucking children.
Yeah, you know. Well, I just miss...
Then you had to fucking sit there for like 5 minutes while the goddamn VCR rewinded the tape. If you didn't have a fucking tape rewinder.
Not if you had a good VCR. Some of them had really good rewinders.
Well, again, broke, poor, shitty VCRs.
But, you know, we didn't have the old ones.
I was going to say, fam, we had the old ones.
You just had to find one. Well, I miss the versatility of what you could do with the VCR. Like, I don't know.
TiVo made the VCR obsolete. TiVo was the final nail in the coffin.
It's not so much I wish that technology would come back, but I'm just oddly nostalgic for it in a weird way, if that makes sense. Like, because I used to be able to we'd have tapes where the case... Well, the cassette was destroyed. Like, the case was fucked. But the tape on the inside was fine. And then we had the opposite. Mm-hmm. So what I would do was, I learned how to take them apart and put them back together and fix the ones with the good tape and put them in a good case. Yeah, so we could watch those again.
Yeah.
And then I miss just being able to record shit while I was at school. Like, I could be like, oh, there was things where it was like, Mega Man, the Battle Network anime, the NC Warrior anime.
You're fully aware that you can still record shit.
Yes. I'm full aware that I can stream shit now.
Yeah.
But it's like, it was just because, so listen, so what I would do was I'd figured out how to set it to record at a certain time.
Right.
So I could see the NC Warrior Mega Man anime that would come on while I was at school.
Right.
So I would have it programmed to record it, and I'd watch it when I get home. But eventually, you run out of tapes. So, what do? You have this old movie of your dad's that's boring and no one watches.
So you could print over it.
So you put tape over the little... Because, like, literally, you're not supposed to record over movies that you buy from the store. Mm-hmm. But there's a little black square. All you gotta do is put electrical tape over it, and then it'll let you record over it. Like, that was the copy protection, was a little groove that could easily be fucking bypassed with tape. I don't know why that kind of thing sticks in my mind of, like, that's just cool.
Yeah.
To be able to do something like that to me. Again, it's not something where I like, oh, I wish that technology would come back and that would be the normal again. No, it's just, I have just a weird nostalgia for it.
Yeah, it's just a really cool thing. And I kind of agree, like, just looking at it, yeah, like, the nostalgia of it is pretty great. I'm glad I got to experience that in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But I can understand the moving on.
The advancement in technology is much more convenient.
Well, it's not just that, it's a huge fucking space saver. Like, all of those fucking cassette tapes everywhere, Jesus Christ.
I just wish, there was a big part of me that wishes that I could mentally travel back in time.
Although you remember the bad stuff too, like when you had a bad VCR that erased your fucking shit.
But I just wish that I could go back in time.
Just to kind of experience it for a day.
Shit. Yeah, just be like one day, like, oh, what are you doing this weekend? You know, I think I'm going to go back to the 90s and experience all that had to offer, you know?
Don't go to Woodstock 99.
I'm not going to Woodstock 99. Well, that's another topic for another episode. But again, I hope you guys have enjoyed another ADHD-fueled episode of this podcast. I think we're going to leave it here and call it a day.
Should be fucking sponsored by Ritalin.
No shit. But, no, because... never mind. I'm not even going to try to take down that rabbit hole.
That's a joke.
No, I know. I was going to come up with it, be like, oh, well, no, they won't sponsor us because, you know, it won't work on us. So, there's nothing to sponsor.
That's alright. I got a local meth head down the street. He can help us out.
It's like an Adderall.
Either way,
I think we're going to call it there. Keep an eye out for some fresh new content coming out down the pipeline. Me and Jen got a couple of ideas for some things we're going to do for the channel, other than just a silly old podcast where we talk about nothing for an hour. But keep an eye out and keep us in mind and stick around for the fun times. We'll see you all in the next episode of the podcast and whatever else the future holds.
Remember, drink your water, don't be a dick, and have a good day.
Mm-hmm. And as far as Vegeta's life advice goes, take your vitamins and say your prayers, dude. Brother Jack, dude. Jack, brother, dude. Hulkamania's running wild with these 24-inch pythons.